Welcome to the Georgia Highlands College Math 97 and Math 99 tutorial videos. In this video segment, we'll be answering the question, how do you factor out a greatest common binomial factor? Well, the first step in this process is to identify that common binomial factor. Secondly, we'll express each term as a product with the binomial factor. Thirdly, we'll factor out the GCBF, meaning greatest common binomial factor. And then finally, as usual, we'll check with multiplication. Let's take a look at an example. We'll start with the binomial x squared times x plus 2 plus 7 times x plus 2. And you might be thinking to yourself, is that really a binomial? And actually, yes, it is. Here's our first term, and here's our second term for the binomial. So you might notice that they both have a factor of x plus 2 in them. That would be considered our common binomial factor. So for this particular problem, the GCBF, or the greatest common binomial factor, is x plus 2. So we've identified our common binomial factor. The next step in the process is to express each term as a product of the GCBF and the other factor. So our GCBF is x plus 2, and we multiply that by x squared in that first term. And our second term can be written as a product of x plus 2 and 7. So we've expressed each term as a product of the GCBF and the other factor. The third step is to factor out the GCBF, or reverse distribute it. So we bring the GCBF out front, and reverse distributing is simply dividing that term, that factor out of both terms. So if I divide x plus 2 out of the first term, I'm left with x squared. And if I divide x plus 2 out of the second term, I'm left with a positive 7. So now we have this polynomial expressed as a product, or it's written in factored form. Let's give it a check. So the first step in checking this is to multiply out our original polynomial. We're going to use this to compare to our factored form answer. So we're just going to distribute this x squared to both of those terms, and then we'll come back and distribute the 7 to the x and the 2. So x squared times x is x cubed, and x squared times 2 is positive 2x squared. Moving to distributing the 7, we have 7 times x, which is positive 7x, and 7 times 2, or positive 14. After combining like terms, which I don't see any to combine in this one, so we'll just rewrite the polynomial as x cubed plus 2x squared plus 7x plus 14. So this shows that this particular polynomial is what we get up here. And now let's check and see if we get the same polynomial from our final factored form here. So I'm going to multiply x plus 2 times x squared plus 7. So once again, moving to distribution, we'll distribute that x to both the terms in the second binomial, and then we'll come back and distribute the 2 to both terms in the second binomial. X times x squared is x cubed. X times 7 is positive 7x. 2 times x squared is positive 2x squared. And 2 times 7 is positive 14. Once again, we have no like terms to combine here. So we should just end up by writing this polynomial in standard form, which means we'll have the exponents in descending order. So our highest exponent is a 3, so we'll start with x cubed. And then we move to the 2, which is positive 2x squared plus 7x plus 14. And you can see here we get the same thing no matter which forms we are multiplying from. So this verifies that x plus 2 times x squared plus 7 is the factored form of our polynomial. Thank you for watching this tutorial video. If you have any other questions about factoring out a binomial factor, please contact your Highlands instructor.